Hi, my name is Judy and I'm the City Stitcher, and welcome to my Flosstube channel. Today is Sunday, November the 14th, and for November, it's a pretty nice day. So mostly sunny with a little bit of cloud. High temperature for today is supposed to be plus 11 degrees Celsius. Yay! But the forecast calls for snow later this week, so winter is coming, winter is coming, winter is coming. So a couple of things. Thank you to all of you who reached out and did a welfare check on me last week. Yes, so the reason why the video was delayed was because I had a problem uploading it. So I don't know whether it was user error or a YouTube thing or whatever. So I kind of went to bed on Sunday night and hoped it would publish. And then when I got up on Monday morning, it was still having a problem, but I had to go to work. So came back and tried to solve it on Monday night, and it got up eventually. But thank you to several of you who reached out because you were concerned about me. So thank you so much. It also does point to thank you so much because it really does mean that you miss my videos. So that's really great too. For those of you who might be viewing my channel for the first time, this is a channel about cross-stitching and the stitching that I've accomplished in the last week. Sometimes it's a good week, sometimes it's a not so good week, and things that are cross-stitch related. So let's talk about the SAL. So I am joining the Sampler of Stitches SAL, Sampler Stitches by the Drawn Thread, which is going to kick off on January 1st. Again, for those of you who've been here for several weeks, you know all about this, but just a quick recap. The goal is, because it's an alphabet sampler, we're trying to accomplish one letter every 2 weeks, which means by the end of the year, we will have finished the entire pattern, which sounds great. So for those of you, actually, let's back up. So Sampler Stitches kicks off January 1st. Sarah Hughes, who is sort of started this whole SAL thing, has come up with a hashtag. I will put it in the notes below. I won't put it across the screen, only because if I put it across the screen, that means I'll have to edit and it'll take longer to upload. So I'm going to wimp out and I'm going to put it in the hashtag in the show notes below if you're looking for that hashtag. And the hashtag is hashtag SOS 2022 SAL. So yes, so given that several of you are planning on joining in, hopefully you're on Instagram and that you can post pictures. I think it will be fascinating to see as we go along. Yeah, and it's interesting. I was watching Sarah's video from this last week, and she was like, she was originally keeping a list of people who had indicated that they wanted to join the SAL, but then the list got too long. So it sounds great. It sounds like there are quite a few of us that will be joining in on this adventure. And like I say, the more the merrier, and it gives us all an opportunity as we go through all of these specialty stitches to have a community to discuss them with. Now, for those of you that are waiting for me to show my colors, I'm getting close. I'm getting close. I have all but the yellows decided. So I can tell you for sure that I am planning on stitching it on 32 count pearl gray Lugana. That's not true. The yellows, and I have to figure out my replacement Soie Perlée, which will also mean the Soie 103. In case any of you are trying to, Sarah had made a comment that several people had reached out to her because they were having trouble finding some of the supplies. And so my answer to supply issues, particularly if you're looking for the Soie Perlée, the Soie 103, and the Bijou Metallic, which I have forgotten to talk about, so I'll circle back to that in just a second. I have 4 recommendations. Traditional Stitches up here in Canada, which is my LNS. Needle in a Haystack in California, Attic Needlework in Mesa, Arizona, and there's one in Tasmania, which I think it's called A Stitch in Time. I'll confirm that. They were the store that participated in the Eliza Martha Linfoot special chart from Hands Across the Sea. And the reason why, it's not that you can't get those products elsewhere, but I'm highlighting those 4 particular shops because they do do a lot of hands across the sea samplers types of charts, which means I know that they regularly order from Access Commodities, which is the distributor for the Soie Perlée, the Soie 103, and the Bijou Metallics. So I'm highlighting those stores. So absolutely no guarantee that those stores will have the colors that you're looking for currently in stock. But because they do regularly order from Access Commodities, and other than the one in Tasmania, I'm pretty sure for the other three, Traditional Stitches for sure, Attic Needlework for sure. When you reach out to them, if they don't have it in stock, you can put it on back order with them, so that the next time they order, they will order that in for you and ship it to you as soon as they've received it. That's why I'm highlighting those particular shops. I am aware that other shops do carry these products as well, but I'm only highlighting those because Sarah had made a comment that people were struggling to find them. And again, no guarantees that those particular shops will have the specific colors for sampler stitches in stock right now, but they do order regularly. So if they don't have it right now, they probably can get it to you close to when the sale is going to be starting. So let's talk about, so I have placed my order with Traditional Stitches. So I'll be right there. I will be waiting for some of my stuff to come. Somehow I completely missed the Bijou Metallic, and they didn't have it in stock. So the next time they order, they will be getting that in for me. And given that for the mauves in the chart, I'm only slightly tweaking them, so I'm not worried about the color options for that particular one. So that the Bijou Metallic is going to stay the same. I'm having Traditional Stitches order in a couple of different colors of Soie Perlée for me, and the coordinating Soie 103, just so I can make an assessment. Again, because I'm changing my colors, and I will have to say that there is no good, or to my knowledge, there is no good online conversion from Soie Perlée or Soie 103 into Soie d'Alger. I haven't been able to find one, and any of the ones where you sort of go through DMC to come back aren't quite working out. So anyway, so I've got Traditional Stitches ordering some stuff for me. We're getting there. Yes, so that's the sampler stitches. Hopefully I will have the majority of the stuff ready to show you next week, and I can give you that list for those of you that are interested. I also, because several of you said, we're just waiting for you to show your colors, Judy. The pressure. I'm totally fine. I just wanted to highlight a couple of things in case you missed the episode where I was talking about, yes, I'm planning on changing the colors. I'm not planning on changing them dramatically. So the original sampler of stitches has like 2 blues. My color change, it will still be 2 blues. It's just going to be 2 different blues. And somebody made a comment sort of saying, yeah, when they looked at the colors, they're very muted. So the called for colors in the sampler stitches are very muted colors. So if you are the person who likes those antique reproduction samplers with very muted tones, the called for colors are probably going to be totally up your alley. And what it will end up doing is you will have a sampler at the end of when you finish it that will look aged, right? Like it won't look like you've when people are talking about samplers and they sort of say, here's what it looks like on the front, and then they go and they look at what it looks like on the back so they can see what the real colors look like. So you will get that sort of more aged tones if you use the called for colors, whether it's NPI or the Soie d'Alger. So, and again, if those are the colors you're drawn to, awesome. You don't have to do any thinking. You're going to use the called for colors and it's going to be great. I too found them a little more muted than I would like, and as well because I'm planning on changing the color of fabric that I'm doing it on, that's where some of the extra tweaking comes into play. So hopefully next week I will be able to have, if not all of them, most of them ready to show you, and then you can assess and go like, oh, is that what you changed them to? I don't like those either. And then you can change them to yourself. And for Lynn, who's, I'm still thinking about you and your blues, because I'm still going like, I think it could work out, but you'd sort of made a comment going, yeah, you'd need to look your way through the pattern, the answers. I'm still in that. I'm going, I still think you can pull it off. You just have to make sure that you've got colors that coordinate with the blue of that Silks for You blue that you're working with. And I would say I would encourage you to really try to plan your way through it. Now, plans are always subject to change, and you could start and go, your plan is like not quite what you were hoping it was going to look like, and you have to revamp it, because a plan is totally up for changes. Watch my plans. But yeah, I'm still thinking about it, going like, I think all done in shades of blue with the variegated sort of forming the bases of the blues. I'm still going like, I think you can pull it off. I think you just need to plan your way through it. So if you end up doing that, please, 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 please post to the hashtag so I can see it, because I want to see all the differences. Okay, and with that, so that's all I have for the sampler Stitch a Sal. Again, the hashtag I'm going to put in the notes below in case any of you are looking for that. Let's do one that I don't do very often. Let's talk best new thing. It's what I'm wearing. This is new this week. Oh my goodness, it is the warmest thing ever. I wore it somewhere else, and one of my friends said, oh my goodness, like, I don't think your hands have been this warm since like those 3 days in the summer when it was like plus 37 degrees and you were fine. Yeah. Oh my goodness, it's the best. It's the best. I actually, it's now my, so I got it from a chain of stores up here called Winners, which is the Canadian equivalent to like TJ Maxx, is my understanding. So you can't count on stores having stock of anything, and you can't count on being able to find it at anything. So I'm now on the hunt at the other Winners in towns to see if I can't get this in additional colors, because this is just like the best. I'm so warm when I wear this thing. It's awesome. Now, this room is actually not bad, so it's actually a little bit warm in here for me today, but you know, it will chill off at some point here, and this is going to become my new, if you see me in this particular thing every Sunday from now through the winter, don't be surprised, because it's wonderful. All right, with that, let's get into the stitching that I've accomplished this week. Oh, that's not true. One more thing about social media, and for those of you that were reaching out to do the welfare check, I will say some of you have sent me Instagram messages. They're several weeks old. Full confession, I am not good with the social media things, which means I've only just found them this week. So if you get a reply to a multi-week old message from me, sorry, I'm just not really good at the social media thingies, and I will work to become better, but now that I've discovered where they are, I will reply. They're coming. So apologies to those of you that sent the multi-week old messages, because I'm only just found them, and I will reply now. Thank you. Okay, now on to the stitching. Well, it hasn't been my most awesomest stitching week, and you're going to laugh when you see why. So let's start with the Temperature Tree by the Stitchin' Mommy. Sarah Hughes, leader of Sampler Stitch a Sal on Etsy. I haven't even bothered taking it off the Q-snap. I still have a straggly thread. I have done nothing on it because I am still struggling with the new cocoa bean that I have. Not 100% sure. So I figured before I went any further and had to try to take things out, I would probably hold off. My understanding is that my LNS has gotten a new batch of cocoa bean in. So I'm going to get some more and see if it changes anything. So again, when you look at it on camera, it doesn't look terribly different. I will say, looking at it in person, even from the 3 feet away, I can see the color variation much more stronger over here than I did over here. So it's giving me pause, and that's why I'm saying I'm going to hold off because I need to get some more cocoa bean, try it, and then make a decision. So it could mean that I forego cocoa bean entirely on this side, because remember I have an anchor floss backup to put in here, which will make it, so there is a little bit of color change in here, but it's very, it's not a strong variegation, right? Like if you look at it closely, you go like, yeah, there's a little bit darker here and a little bit lighter there, but they're very close tonally. So this is why the stronger shades of variegation coming in through here are giving me a little bit of pause, only because I don't want this half of the tree to look completely different than the first half. And again, note to self, even though I thought the 2 skeins that I had were really close, when I got started they were different, so who knows what's going on with this. So we're going to try one more run at cocoa bean, and then I really have to make a decision. But I was saying to a friend of mine this week that I was contemplating totally ripping all of this out, and she went, no, it's going to be fine. And I went, but it's bothering me. So again, there are lots of people who go, it doesn't matter, it's totally fine, it's only because you've been working on it and you can see it so much differently that the rest of the world wouldn't notice it. And that's entirely possible. The problem is I look at it and go, it's instinctively what my eye is drawn to because I can see it so clearly. And I don't want to have that effect when I'm done with it, to keep looking and going like, ugh, I wish I had done something with the cocoa bean. Ugh, I wish I had done something with the cocoa bean. So I'd rather make a permanent decision now than to get further along and want to take it out and redo things. So I'm just trying to save myself some problems. Yes, it's still quite a bit of ripping out, which I totally get. Doesn't bother me because anyway. Wait until I get that next batch of cocoa bean and see what the answer is then. All right, I'm gonna go way over here. Okay. Then, of course, we had from last week the sort of finish, not quite finish, which was Halloween Sampler by Cottage Garden Samplings. I technically last week had finished all of the stitching. I just wasn't 100% confident with my choice on the broom. So I ripped out that color, and I did my usual multi versions of things, and so here's where we're at now. I just realized I really do need one clip. I don't have them handy. All right, here we go. So I ripped out the one that was in here before, which was the really dark one. And so this may look like it's actually the same as the lighter one here in the pumpkin, and it's not. So I used Gentle Arts Fragrant Cloves, which was a called for color in this chart, but up until this point had not been used, because this is the called for color to do the moon, the star, and the third color in the candy corn. Now, I think this really highlights why I really had to change it out, because if I had used this here in the candy corn, you never would have gotten a candy corn effect. So again, I'm still really happy with my choice of yellow for fixing it in here. So I've now finally used Fragrant Cloves from Gentle Arts, which is one of the called for colors, but not the called for color here. So I've just put it in, but it is lighter than the orange that you see down here in the light part of the pumpkin. So I'm now calling it. I did try the yellow because it's me, so I have to try several things and then I make my final decision. So I did try the yellow, and it actually was too bright. It didn't look right at all. So when I try things out, I only put in a few stitches, anywhere between 4 and 7 stitches. and I put them in and I just went, it's not going to look right either. So I went back and I hauled out the fragrant cloves, put it in, and I'm now fine with it. I'm calling it, I'm saying this is now complete. All the stitching is done. The plan is to get it framed, but to get it framed with a navy frame. So I just need to look into my options. When that's going to happen is anybody's guess. And then I did end up putting my initials down here, and these are bigger than I would normally put in, but same thing. When I put in my usual backstitched ones, it actually looked really weird. So I had to beef them up a little bit, put them right around that center leg, and you know, again, until you get close, it doesn't look like anything momentous, but when you put the little backstitched ones, it's kind of like, what's that little thing down there? Anyway, so I'm now calling this a finish. Clearly not a fully finished, but finished. So I have a 2021 finish, which you'll see again when we do my year-end wrap-up videos. Yay! Okay, so there's that one. This is the last time you're going to see this until, you know, towards the end of the year, because I'm done. I'm finished. Who knew that was possible? Okay. Now, for my November focus piece, so thank you to the few of you that played along with me, and congratulations to Lena, because Lena got it absolutely correct. So I don't know, Lena, if you got it because you actually are familiar with this particular designer, or if you're just a really good Googler, both of which are totally valid ways to come up with your guesses. But she correctly guessed the designer, and she actually correctly guessed the name of the chart that I was working on. So this is Remember November by Marnic Designs. So this is what it's going to look like when it's finished. Wait till you'll see how little the progress was this week on this sucker. Anyway, I really love this. I love the sentiment behind it. You know, again, this last week was Remembrance Day, so I do hope that all of you did take a moment just to remember the sacrifice and service of so many who have contributed to, you know, certainly my way of life. And I have had family members who have served, and I can speak to the ramifications of what that service is. So I appreciate their service. I appreciate everyone's who served, their families, the people that helped them before and after. There's a lot of people that have contributed to the way that I am able to lead my life. Anyway, so I love this one. I love the poppies. I love everything about it. Now, you're going to laugh. Again, I didn't bother taking it off of the Q-snap because it's my goal to work on this today. I don't think this really is going to change anything, but we're going to put it on there anyway. So what did I accomplish this week? Not a lot, but so I finished off, so when you saw it last week, you had from here over. So yeah, all I did was I finished off the REM and did all of the back stitching on that. And I did the border underneath here all the way across. Started on the border above it, but didn't finish it. This border is being done with Kreinik number 4 braid. And so this is my approach, is I sort of take my first length and I do a length of it, and then I stop and I do something else. And then when I'm ready to stitch again, I take another length and I do it, because this one's getting to the point where I feel like I should just sit down and finish it. But it's Kreinik, and you know, I always give pause. I will also say I had to slow down here. This is a chart that has a lot of fractional stitches. So if you don't like charts that have fractional stitches, this is not going to be your thing, and it happens in a lot of her designs. You know, because clearly to get an M on this type of an angle, you could make it in solid stitches, but it would be huge. So the other thing about this is, now that I've got all of the Remember done, that is the entire width of the piece. Anyway, so I got that done, got it all outlined, worked on my borders, came back in. The other thing here, so this calls for Caron Waterlilies Kelp to do all of this viney stuff here. But the kelp that I could get bore no resemblance to this. None. And again, the Caron Waterlilies is an over-dyed, variegated, absolute, you are not guaranteed consistency in that, in how it comes out. And so the kelp that I checked a couple of my LNSs when I was kitting this up, and the kelp that they had looked nothing like this. Nothing like this. So I kind of went, well, that's not going to work out for me. Like I had, when I was actually going to the store, I had actually brought along the DMC floss for the rest of it so that I could have it there, and took one look and went, this isn't going to work at all. It was that clearly not going to work. But then, of course, it put me into the land of, I have to figure out what I'm going to replace this with. And so that took several tries, and even up until last week, I still went into one store and looked at one thing, and because I'd found it online, and went, if they had it, it was a possibility, and maybe it was better than the one, and the answer is, same thing. They put it aside for me to hold it so I could go in and have a look, walked in, had a quick look at it, went, it's not gonna work at all. So I stuck with my original, what I had originally kitted up. It is from, I don't even have it with me here in the room. It is, I think it's a Gloriana. I think it's Alpine Grasses. I will put it in the notes below in case you're wondering. But again, so I sort of held off on starting doing any of the vine work until I had gone to see that other option. And I think this is going to work out really, really well. Now, you can't, it's hard to see the variegation here, but it's got more of sort of a gray green with a little bit of teal. So the greens in here do coordinate with the green DMCs that I've got in here, but it's a little more tealy and gray. So I'm kind of going, I'm hoping it will work out, because I have landed that this is my only option. I've tried quite a few. This is the only thing that I've been able to come up with that I think will work for this piece. So I've started it, and so far I started with an area that was sort of that more gray, bluey, gray, it's not gray blue, it's a gray green. So far I'm doing okay with it. Check back next week, because that is one of my focuses, is to try to, now that I have a final decision on that, is to go to town, because that's just following all these swirls of vine, right? There's a lot of them. So, you know, like all of this is that one thread, right? So a little less up top, but certainly predominantly down here. You really just have these two poppies, and the rest of it is that particular color. So that's why it was fairly important for me to make a final decision on that one. Yep. Anyway, so in the meantime, I started working on my poppies. Very, very little work done there. So another interesting thing, which again, when I was kitting it up, I really just looked and pulled the DMCs and put them in the bag and went, we're ready to go. The funny thing is, and it's not that it's a problem for me, but then when I started working on it, is most of the symbols in this chart, so other than the greens for the leaves, the remember and the border and the vine, like every color in, almost every color in those poppies is a blended thread, which was interesting. Now, this chart, I think, is from 2012, so it's not horrendously old, but what it does say to me is that either when she was looking at the variegated threads, she couldn't find ones that worked for her, and that puts you into the blended thread to achieve the look that you're after. Or maybe she was just trying to go, it's easier to achieve the look for more people, because if it's just DMC, that's readily accessible. Who knows what was going on? Anyway, but I love how this looks. Now, I haven't gotten to the darkest of the reds, certainly not down here. I'm working on some of the lighter shades right now. But again, I had that moment where it's like, I haven't worked with blended threads in a really long time. So I had to have a little, looked at my thing and went, okay, I need to make sure I'm cutting all of my thread lengths the exact same length, regardless of color, in the colors that are used in the poppies. Because then, because a lot of them are used with multiple colors, right? So I've cut lengths for all of them that are all the same so that I can just pull one strand so it can be combined with any other one, and off we go. So again, not a huge amount of progress. I know it looks like very little, but I've accomplished there's 4 colors in this little bit here and 2 colors down here. So again, not my best stitching week. I've been working on a few other things. Hopefully my goal is that this is going to be a good stitching week now that I've made some final decisions on this and I can go to town on this. So same thing, my plan is to do sort of a length of the variegated and then come in and do a color. That's what I say now. Check back and see what I've actually done next week. Anyway, so that's where I got to. I really like this pattern. I love this pattern, and I can't wait to. This is exactly why it came into the rotation. I've had this pattern for years, and I'm really glad that I finally started it, and hopefully I can make some decent progress on it this month. Get it close to a finish. I know it's not that big. You would think that if I can get Halloween sampler accomplished in a month that I can get this accomplished, but we're at the 14th. And I look at how little I've done. Anyway, it'll all be fine. Okay. So that's all the stitching that I've gotten accomplished this week. It's fine. That happens. And I laughed. I was watching some other Flosstubes this week, and they were sort of going, this hasn't been a great stitching week for me. And I'm going like, it's all fine. It's all fine that we don't all have fantastic stitching weeks every week. That's just life. So there you go. So the other thing I have for you, and I looked at this and went, this is going to have huge glare on it because it clearly doesn't have the anti-reflective glass on it. But this is the Petty Point picture that my great aunt Faith did. And again, sorry, huge reflective things. There's nothing I can do about it. I've tried 27 different ways to hold it. You get to see what's sitting on the other side of me. See? Okay, anyway, whatever. None of you care about that. But this is one of hers. Quite frankly, the one that my mother has, I think, is actually a better example of hers. But I'm keeping it, and quite frankly, I'm expecting that I will inherit the one from my mother, and then I get to hang them up as a pair. But the thing that is so interesting to me is, again, this is a design that she would have created herself. This is Petty Point done on, you know, ridiculously small gauze. So all of the shading, I don't know if I can even get, like, all of the shading in this woman and her outfit, she would have designed all of that herself. She would have had to come up with the color combinations. Man, that glare is just horrendous. Sorry. I don't know what to do about that. So again, I just really impressed with her skills about coming up with the design, the shading that's involved in here. And like I say, my plan is next summer I'm going to go over and borrow my mother's and put that on a Flosstube. And you'll get to see the other one. I think does she have 1 or 2? I don't remember. But anyway. So this is coming to live in my house. I have an idea for where this is going to go, but it's going to look a little funny in the meantime because until I get my space planning is actually for it to be hung as a pair. But that is my great aunt Faith's, some of her work, original design, original color choices, etc., etc. actually. I'm going to haul it out and see if, you know what? I don't know what to, yeah. I was going to see if I could maybe make that the screen capture, and because of how much glare there is on that, I don't know that that's necessarily the best option. All right. And with that, let's get into a little bit of Stashquisitions. There's more coming. But this week's is because after Galleria, and by the way, Charlotte, hey, when you hear about the, when you find out when you can sign up for Galleria, can you send me a message about that? Because I'm going to see if I can't go to Galleria this year. Wouldn't that be exciting? She went, she had a great time anyway. Maybe I can get to Galleria. So I was watching Hands On Design, her Flosstube channel, which if you haven't watched that, she's got a great one. And she made the comment that she made up more kits for the things that she was doing at Galleria, which were then available on her shop. And they were only going to be available on her storefront until she ran out of kits. And then, yes, the expectation is that the charts would then be made available as PDFs only. But if you bought, the thing for me is that you could buy the kits now that had the stuff in it to make it. So I went and I looked and I went, yeah, but I want them, and it's my little Galleria experience. Now I haven't taken the kits out of the plastic bags, so sorry, there's going to be glare on those ones as well. And I think I'm losing my light here, but anyway. So number one is I got this Queen of the Needle. So this is to make a little needle book. This is done using perforated paper. It comes with a little charm. So the ribbon on here is the ribbon that's tying this shut. And so it comes with the design, the charm, and everything that you need to make this, which I like that concept. So it's got, so here's the perforated paper. This paper in here is used, I think, on the inside of it. And then here's the felt so that you can, so it's a needle book, right? So this is what you would put your needle on. And here's the floss with a really lovely floss drop. Here's the charm. Lovely, lovely, lovely Queen of the Needle. So again, I didn't check this morning to see if the kits were still available, but I will put a link. If it's still available, I will put a link to either it or maybe the PDF that may now be available. So that's Queen of the Needle, which was one of her things that I think she used this as one of the round robins. I'm not sure about that. Don't quote me on that. Anyway, but that is, so that's one of them. So the other one, which was also a Galleria one, is this one called Sun, Sand, and Sea. Now, this is a little bit different. Again, so it comes as a kit. So you get the chart and you get the finishing supplies. So you do not get the floss to make this, which is totally fine because I don't want my house to be yellow, so I'll be changing that. But it does come with, so what you see here with these fabrics and rickrack and twine, and you can just see a hint of the backing fabric for this pillow. So this came with the chart and the finishing items. So not the fabric, which is great because I would never make mine this brown. Don't take it the wrong way. This looks like the perfect thing to use Summer Sky Jobelan on it. That's me. But so it comes with the chart and it comes with everything that you need to finish it up to make it a little pillow like this. So I got that as well. So that's my little Galleria experience. And then the third one, that since I was having them send me a package anyway, I added this to the package. So this is her chart called Shadow Moon. So it's another Halloween one. But can you guess why I picked this one up? Because of the green fabric. Because I have a little bit left of this one, of this Poison Apple from Color and Cotton. And when I saw this, I went, you might as well pick this up, because and again, so not smart enough, didn't actually go and check the piece of fabric that I have left to make sure it would fit. But I went, I could use the rest of my poison apple fabric to do this one. Again, I would probably still change all of this into a navy blue just because I like it better than the black. And yes, so she doesn't use anything glow in the dark. So there are no called for glow in the darks, but I'm thinking I might do this gigantic moon and glow in dark. Watch me say that now, because I didn't love working with the glow in the dark thread before. So I say that now, but I think it would really highlight sort of the shapes in here are bats and stars. So got that so it could come as a little package from Hands On Design. Okay, the last one that I'm going to show you is, I haven't actually bought this, but I'm certainly thinking about getting it. I've been thinking about it. I talk about it. I've got a couple of friends that I've brought this up with a couple of times, and I went, I really am thinking about getting this. This is not a horribly expensive chart. This is on Etsy. So here's the name of Dolori Patterns. This is on Etsy. I will put the link to this in the notes below. But I think it's hilarious. I don't have ducks in a row. I have squirrels, and they're at a rave. You know, nice little floral. I actually think this is the one where it would be perfect to do it as a hoop finish. Stitch this up. You know, those people who talk about, sort of, they laugh about the ones with the really nice, you know, floral things, and who knows what goes in here. The other one that I like is sarcasm is my love language, but that's not actually how the love language works. You need to fix it to say, I'm assuming sarcasm is your love language for anyway, but whatever. Anyway, so don't be surprised if you see this again, because I wouldn't be surprised between now and the end of the year if this makes its way into my cart on Etsy and it actually comes home. But I wanted to show it because I think it's hilarious. And every time I talk to a friend of mine, we both chuckle about this and going, oh my goodness, that really does reflect our lives. I don't have my ducks in a row. I have squirrels and they're at a rave. Anyway. It's not everybody's sense of humor, but that's mine. All right, and with that, let's get into our topic for this week. No big surprise, because I tend to do once a month, I focus on the designer of my focus piece for that month. And because I'm working on Remember November by Marnic Designs, our topic for this week is Marnic Designs. So the name of the woman behind it is Maria. Now, I said last week that she's based on Waterloo. I was looking it up. I think she might have moved from Waterloo, but she still is in Ontario. So she is a Canadian designer based in Ontario. And I have a few of her designs. I don't have a ton of them. And I would say she is a very little discussed designer. Not discussed as in ooh, uck. Discussed as in talking about. And so... the other funny thing is when I was putting my plan together for this year, I'd kind of done some stuff and I had all these things that I wanted to talk about Marnic Designs, and I got foiled. So she used to have a website, and she had free charts on her website, and she had a really lovely thing about working with variegated threads. And so I was going to do all this discussion points, and I was going to point to this website. And when we got to the beginning of November, I was looking for the website and went, where's my website? So she's actually taken her website down. So all of the things that I was going to point to and show and talk about and go, look, are not there. So I got foiled on that one. Certainly foiled. I talked to a friend of mine and said, like, should I show the free charts that I got off of this website? She said, no, that's just mean because nobody can get them right now, which is true. But it does highlight my rule about if you see a free downloadable chart that you like or have any kind of interest in, download it while you can get it, because you are not guaranteed that you will always be able to get it. So the free downloads that I got from Marnic, currently I can't find anywhere to get them for free. A couple of her free ones that were on her site are now on her Etsy. site. And I think she's charging something like 26 cents Canadian. So, you know, I think it's 20 cents US, whatever it is. I think she's put them on there, and really the cost of them is just to cover the Etsy fees for it. Anyway, so there's a few of them on there, but the ones that I had downloaded are not on her Etsy site. So she does have an Etsy site right now, and I would say that not all of her catalog is on there at this point in time. So I don't know if she's moving all of it onto there. I haven't reached out and asked her, but she does have several things. The other thing that you can do if you are interested in seeing more of Marnic Designs other than the few that I'm going to show you, just Google Marnic Designs cross stitch. I know that Stitch It Central has stuff for her on their webpage. Stony Creek has stuff for her on their webpage. There was somewhere else that I clicked. Anyway, so it will actually come up with everything cross stitch might be the other one. So all you have to do is Google Marnic Designs cross stitch and see what shops come up with it, and they will have various things. But she does have an Etsy shop now. So if you are looking for PDFs, so the stores that have them, those are paper copy charts. If you're looking for a PDF because you want to save on the shipping, or I don't know if they're Pattern Keeper available, but you like stitching off of a pattern off of your device. She does have an Etsy shop, and I will put a link directly to her Etsy shop in the notes below. Like I say, it doesn't have all of her stuff on there, but it will give you, it has some of it. So one of the things that you will see, one of the things that actually drew me to her her designs, and I have a couple of them, and I really just, I printed off these individual pictures because they're bigger than the ones that are on the charts. So she has a whole series of welcomes that are all different themes. So this is clearly a beach theme. So that's one of them. So I've got that one. It's either called Beach Welcome or Welcome Beach, whatever. So I've got this pumpkin one. And I think this one, so my recollection again, so it's horrible because, you know, I don't have the website. I think she had designed one for every month of the year. And that concept of having one per month really appealed to me because it was all thematically arranged. I think this is the October one because I think she also had a Halloween one that then had like a pumpkin and a ghost and a something else, right? So there was a difference between the monthly one and the seasonal one. So in my head, I think I got this one because I think this is the October one. I don't remember what the name of this chart is, but anyway. So she has a whole series of welcome ones. Pick your theme. So if you're looking for something that says welcome and you're just trying to find a theme that goes with it. So if you want probably shamrocks or Valentine's Day and hearts, or there were multiple Christmas ones and Thanksgiving ones, and you know, all sorts of ones. So she's got a ton of things that all say welcome that have themes around them. Some of them are themes around like colorways, right? There's a bronze welcome and a blue welcome and a snowflake welcome and all those kinds of things. So if you were looking for a welcome design and you just wanted to see something around it, this might work for that. They certainly appealed to me, and there's probably about 5 or 6 more that I was like going, you should probably get those. I have resisted so far. Doesn't mean I will resist for forever, but I've resisted so far. But they're all about the same size as this Remembrance one, right? So they're not huge, which I like that too, right? It's just a little thing, etc., etc., and that's why it appealed to me, is that you could do several of them. And anyway, in my head, that's how it worked. She does have things on other topics as well. Like she's actually just released a couple of designs over the last couple of months. They are on her Etsy site. You can also see what's available for pattern charts from Hoffman Distribution. I will put that link down as well. If it's on the Hoffman site, any of your LNSs that are ordering from Hoffman should be able to get that for you as a special order item. When they order from Hoffman, there are no minimums to my knowledge, so if they're only ordering for you, they should still be able to bring in one copy of a Marnic Design chart. On her Etsy site, she does have the ability for you to get them in PDFs, is the easiest, but she does have options. If you wanted a paper copy, you can still order from her Etsy site and get it as a paper copy as well. And so the only other one of hers that I have that is not a welcome one is this Christmas one, you know, because it's me and Christmas. So I don't have a vast array of them, but I can certainly say that originally when I got that Remember one, that's what started me down the path of looking at the Marnic Design charts. And again, I think in my head I started off that I was going to get like those monthly ones and do a welcome. Same thing. In my head, I said, you know, you could do these 12 welcome ones, have one frame, and then just swap them out. And so that one's what, 2012 so far. I've done nothing. Anyway, which is why I think I'm okay that I'm holding off at the moment, because I don't know when I'm going to finish them. But I'm on my way to finishing one. But yeah, so that's Marnic Designs. Again, I'm going to put links to her Etsy page. I'm going to put links to Hoffman Distribution. And again, if you just Google Marnic Designs, M-A-R-N-I-C, all one word, designs, you can find some other things. And I will say again, because I don't think all of her catalog is on Etsy, it's interesting, like it was interesting even for me when I had that horrible week where I discovered that her webpage no longer existed. Going through and seeing what other stores had versus what was on her Etsy site, because I went, some of those stores have some of her catalog that is not yet on her Etsy page. And I can't speak to that she will be putting all of her catalog on there, but I wouldn't be surprised that if you'd seen a chart somewhere on somebody's website and you're like, I really want that as a PDF, my recommendation would be to message her through her Etsy shop and see if she can't get you a PDF of that, because I would think that she probably could. Again, not having asked her that question, I think she probably could. All right, and as usual, we're at that stage of the program where I'm looking around and going, I think that's everything I've got to talk about this week. Yeah, so hopefully this will load properly. If it comes up a day late, don't worry, although by this, when you hear this, you will have already worried perhaps. But if it happens again, don't worry, the video's coming. Anyway, so I'm losing my light for sure. Let's get this uploaded. Let's do my whole thing. Let's finish this up, put it up, get it loading. Then I'm going to make some supper, you know, that kind of thing. So I hope everybody's had a really good week. I hope you are staying safe. I hope you are staying healthy. And I really hope that you're finding some time to stitch. And I look forward to seeing you next week. If you have any comments, questions, topics you would like me to address, always happy to have those in the comment section down below. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.